Hello everyone. Hello replay viewers. I know you'll be the first to see this, and actually that's a picture of my vision board that is hanging on my wall, and I add to it a lot. And you know, the miracle is that when I go and add to it, that I find that I'm actually have achieved so much of my vision board. It's really thrilling to me. So Cynthia, welcome. I'm so glad you could come. Welcome. So Liberty, yay! Oh, my two favorite people. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. So today I was thinking, what could I bring to you that would be the most value of, Joss Quinn, 15. Thank you for joining me. And today I was thinking about what could bring the most value. So I was going back over some of my blogs, and I found that there was one that was read a lot. And that one was something that I call the 30-minute solutions to begin with the end in mind. And so that's what I'm talking about today, because it was read so much. Wish I could stay, have to leave now to do a speaking engagement. Liberty, have a great speaking engagement. I want to hear all about it, okay? Follow her. She's fantastic. So anyway, the 30-minute solutions to begin with the end in mind is a concept that I actually borrowed from Stephen Covey, and I want to just share a little bit about how it all happened, because I think that you'll find that in the 5 steps I'm going to share with you that you'll have value and actually and actually have something that you'll feel good about, and a way of reframing your life. So first of all, I want to tell you that I'm so glad I'm the age I am. And what I found is that at this age, I have the gift of hindsight. And the gift of hindsight is where wisdom is born. That's where we get it. I have lived through every circumstance that I never thought I could, and yet here I stand, and my life is better for it. And a lot of it was tragedy, and a lot of it was sorrow, but a lot of it was joy born out of the tragedy and sorrow. So here's a list first of things that I thought I couldn't do. Number 1, I didn't think I could survive unimaginable loss. I survived the loss of my child at 16 years old. He died suddenly of bacterial meningitis. And I am so fortunate today to be many years down the road and be able to look at it from a perspective that I'm able to help a lot of people through the toughest time. And my son gave me that gift in his death. So that's number 1, that I didn't think I could survive something as tragic as that. Number 2, I didn't think I could heal my heart after divorce, because I had a 25-year marriage, and grief tore it apart. It wasn't always handled appropriately, and we grew apart. And so I didn't think I could survive that, but I did. Number 3, I didn't think I could start a new career after 50, but I did. And not only that, I was faced with having to be the sole support of my family, because tragically my husband died. And so suddenly I was faced with putting my 3 children through college and school and home, and being the sole caregiver of my children. And you know what? My last child just graduated from college. I created a whole new career for myself, and somehow my life came together when I needed it. And I talk a lot about the things and the steps that I took to get to that place, but in this scope, I want to focus on the 30-minute solutions to begin with the end in mind, and we'll talk about some of that other stuff as I continue with my scopes. So the next thing I didn't think I could do, I mentioned raise my kids on my own, and I told you that they are all successful, great kids, my youngest being 23 now, just graduated from Long Beach State. And then number 5. Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. I didn't think I could find true love again, but I did. I never thought I could love like I loved my husband. And yet somehow my life transformed. Thank you for the hearts, by the way. I really appreciate the hearts. You know what? It validates me. It makes me feel like I'm sharing something that makes you happy. So thank you. But I didn't think I could find true love again, and yet I did. And not only that, it's beyond my wildest dreams. I never thought that I would have the marriage that I have, because I had a great marriage for 25 years. And now I'm 4 years into my second marriage, and I'm so grateful that he's such a wonderful man. But not only that, but he is, I love seeing pics you've taken of him because he has such love on his face for you. Cynthia, you know, that's so true. I'm so fortunate to have such an incredible man, and we share very similar values, character, spiritual beliefs, and that was something that I just didn't think I'd find. So anyway, that was another thing that I didn't think I could survive. The last thing that I thought I couldn't do was write books that could help people, but I did. And you know what? Those books were born out of the most difficult times in my life. And my most recent book, How to Survive the Worst That Can Happen, is a book for parents going through the loss of a child. And it's a step-by-step guide. And you know, I want to be there, hold their hand every step of the way. And I poured my heart out into this book and gave everything I had. I left nothing, no questions unanswered, and put it into this book. And do you know that I've won 8 awards for this book? Now, the awards are meaningful in that the awards get the book attention. So it's getting to the place that, the places where people are aware of it, so they're able to help people. You can't say enough about how much you deserve those awards. Cynthia, thank you. I'm really proud of this book because I worked very hard on it. And you know what? I just made a little Facebook announcement saying that I was going to announce something really big. And I don't know if you saw that, Cynthia, on Facebook. A lot of people were saying, oh, what's going on? Are you having a grandchild or what? But no, you know what? I got my 8th award. I got the Reader's Favorite Award, 2nd year in a row, 2015, for this book. So I got it for 2014 and 2015. So I am over the moon, happy, yes, hooray, thank you. So anyway, I want to take all of this and put it on Periscope for you, because I want to scope about using your life. Thank you. Thank you for saying it's deserved. I worked really hard for it. And I want to scope about using what you have, your life story, the things that have happened in your life that can give you the foundation and the launching pad for the next part of your life. And I think sometimes, thank you, I feel so good that I'm able to project this right now, and that I have this wonderful medium called Periscope that's an opportunity for me to discuss it. And you know, I was on the radio for 3 years in Northern California on an AM station, talk radio. And one of the things that I wish that I could have done was be able to talk in front of people with my face and get reaction. And Periscope is the perfect medium because I'm able to speak my truth, be transparent, talk about the things that matter to me, give gifts, and get reaction from you. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So I wanted to tell you the things that I feel that help you begin with the end in mind, because when we get to the end of our lives, so often there are the I wish I hads. And we don't want to go to the end of our life with the I wish I hads. Oh, Tim, thank you for joining me. I saw your scope this morning, and you are very inspirational. Thank you. You gave me one more step of courage to do, I think this is my 12th or 13th scope. But anyway, I was just sharing that there were many things in my life that I thought I couldn't do. And for one, survive unimaginable loss in the loss of my son, survive the divorce that followed, raise my children on my own because my children's father passed away, start a new career after 50, and write a book that helps people go through some of the most tragic experiences of their lives. And for this book is called How to Survive the Worst That Can Happen, and it's a parent's step-by-step guide for surviving the loss of a child. And I was just announcing that I got my 8th award for this book, so I am like over the moon excited. Well, actually, I'm even a little older than that, so thank you. Anyway, I am so glad you're joining me because you are an inspiration. I hope everybody's following you too, Tim. Maybe put some emojis up on there so that they can follow you. So I'm starting with, I wanted to give you 5 steps for beginning with the end in mind. Now, Stephen Covey developed it more as business solutions, life solutions, yes, but for me, I really started thinking about how I could make the I wish I had's not there at the end of my life. And so the first thing that I came up with that I would do is I'd begin by spending 30 minutes writing down what the end of my life might look like if I stayed exactly where I was. Now, when I turned 50, I had shared with you that suddenly I was divorced. I had to support all 3 of my children on my own, and I had to create a new career. So if I had stayed in the depths of despair and not reached out and tried new things, tried to start new careers, at one point I had 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs, and thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? It is work too, and I'm really proud of it. And thank you for mentioning that. And so what I found, though, is that my motivation was my why. My why were my 3 children, because I knew that I had to do it no matter what. So in writing down those 30-minute solutions, what does your life look like at the end of your life if you lived exactly the way you live today? Because nothing happens today. Tomorrow will be the same. So you have to do something today that will change tomorrow. So write those down, and then you want to look at that and start thinking, what are the changes that I can make that will give me a different outlook a year from now, 5 years from now? Because if you're doing the same thing, it never changes. So I had to take some risks that were pretty scary. For one thing, I moved out of Los Angeles. I had been a part of the entertainment business for 30 years. And suddenly I had to break out of that and create a whole new circle of friends and people because I moved to a small town outside of Los Angeles, and I was no longer in the entertainment business, actively working in it. So that was one of the things that I did. And then I tried out different things as far as careers, and found things that worked and things that didn't, but it's about taking risks. So number 2 is stop being the victim of your own story. And I, for the longest time, thought that people saw me as pathetic. That was a really hard thing for me because I thought I was Superwoman until my son died. I felt like I could do anything, that I had done everything right, that every dream had come true. I remember walking the red carpet with my late husband, and he was nominated for an Emmy, and I thought, wow, I have the best life. There is nothing that I can't do. And, I had 3 beautiful children at the time. My 4th was going to be born, and I thought, I feel invincible. And then just a few short years after that was when I lost my child. And I had no idea that my fairy tale, the castle walls, came to the ground. But I had to rebuild it, and I did. And you can too. because no matter what you're going through, there's always a solution. And the important thing is to reach out to people who can help you and hold you up when you can't hold yourself up. The next thing that you're going to do is, as number 2 was stop. Thank you. Stop being the victim of your own story, because your story has power. And my story had power. And I knew that if I could survive the loss of my son, I could do anything. And I started writing it down. And that's how I created my book. I'd been a writer my whole life, and I knew that if I could create something for someone else, that I was no longer the victim of my own story. So anyway, give it a shot. The next thing that I believe in doing is begin doing the things that you've always intended to do. Now, I'm not talking about the dreams. I'm not talking about, vacation in, Bali or things like that. I'm talking about the things that you always say, I should be doing, like working out, being healthier, starting a spiritual practice. And I'm telling you, the single most important thing that I did to change my life was give myself the habit of a spiritual practice. And that's non-negotiable with me. And it can be anything, from any religion, any faith. I happen to be Christian. Whatever works for you. Some people call it quiet time. Some people call it meditation. For me, it's prayer. Every morning I start with my Bible, and then I always include perspective from someone else, I read a spiritual book, The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. He's a poet, and his work inspires me. And so I find if I just have, 10 minutes with my Bible, 5 or 10 minutes with a book like The Book of Awakening, and then I have prayer time, and then I have listening time. And all of those things are my non-negotiable. And so what I'm saying in number 3 is begin things you've always intended on doing. If you're going to wake up tomorrow and not do it, you're going to wake up the next day and not do it. So you just start with taking that first step. The next thing you want to do is never take a single day for granted, which is so obvious, but something that we do all the time. We always take it for granted. And so if you can just think about the beginning of your day and saying, I'm not taking this day for granted. What's one thing that's going to be life-changing for me in this day? And maybe it's picking up a new book. Maybe it's talking to someone in the grocery store you've never talked to before. Maybe it's creating a new meal for your family. But make every day something special. And number 5, and I think this is one of the most important things you can do, is leave nothing wonderful unsaid to those you love. And I recently did this with my father. It was the most important thing that I did. I called him up and I said, Dad, I want to tell you all of the things that I love about you and the things that changed me as a person because of you. And so, and he cried and I cried because I had the opportunity to tell him that had I not had this opportunity, if he died tomorrow, I would have wished that I'd said it. But I didn't have to do that. I knew that I had picked up the phone, called my dad, who happens to be a retired admiral. He's one of the most powerful men I know in my life, and he's my dad. And I'm so proud of him. Oops, sorry. And I'm so proud of him. And I just feel like the opportunity to tell him was my gold. I got to tell him how much I loved him and how much I appreciated him. And he will treasure that for the rest of his life. He's 88 years old, and I will treasure it for mine because I know that I've said everything I needed to say to my dad. So I'm so glad you hung in there with me. Thank you for all the hearts and for hanging in there with me, because I want to be able to provide value to you and give you some things that helped me in my life. And my blog that I wrote about this, the 30-minute solutions to begin with the end in mind, it's at this bit.ly link, solutions blog. So it's bit.ly/solutions blog. And you can always contact me on my website too, sandypeckinpah.com, where all my blogs are. But this one has a worksheet, and it's free. You don't have to, nothing to buy. I just have you download a worksheet of exactly the things that I told you, but I actually go into depth even more. And I'm so proud of this worksheet because I've had several people do it, and they said it was really meaningful for them. And they had to do a lot of detective work, and it really was life-changing for them. So if you feel like you want to go in depth to more of what I'm saying, go and read the blog, and in that blog is a link that will take you to the worksheet. No obligation. You just put your email in there, and then it clicks through to the downloadable worksheet, and it's a PDF, so you can print it out and write on it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be gold for you because it already has for me and for other people. And the last thing I want to tell you is that I am on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Periscope, all at the same link. Whoops, there we go. At Sandy Peckinpah. And I am so darn grateful that you joined me today and you stuck with me and you heard my story. And I want to come to you every day with more things that I've learned. And most of all, I want to finally wish for you to be surrounded with love. Enjoy every single day as a person of strength, beauty, and committed to a joyful, successful life. And that's my wish for you. Thank you so much for joining me. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.